Okay, second half of the Swiss ball workout, or you can do this one entirely on its own. So that's why I've come back to sitting, so that we can do a bit of a warm up before we go straight into it. The focus of this one is going to be more abdominal. So just start sitting on the ball with the feet at hip space, shoulders over pelvis, and if you were to put your hands on the bones of your pubic bone and your hips, they're nicely vertical. So you're not slouching, your shoulders are not, you're sagging forward, you're just nice and upright. Core is engaged. You're just going to put your fingers on the ball, and you're just going to start by circling the ball. This is where you can get some really rude noises depending on what type of ball you've got and what type of mat you're using. So generally the smooth, shiny balls can make quite a lot of noises. You could either say they sound like whales, or you could sound like they sound like someone with really bad wind problems, so you choose. So changing the direction. So this is a lovely movement just to articulate your lumbar spine, your hips within the sockets, SI joints. So put your hands on the ball. It just tells your brain where the ball is. So now go into neutral sitting again and just tuck your tailbone under and then come back to neutral. So you're tucking under, you come back to neutral. You're tucking under, you feel that lovely stretch through your sacral fascia, lumbosacral fascia, tucking under, tucking under, tucking under. Now you can take your bottom towards or sit sideways. You can take your bottom towards the back, so you've got that duck position, but just be careful of that, hey? If your back is tight, it might not like going into that sway back. So you're tucking under, and you're coming into neutral, and then you're gently going into the back position. So you're tucking under. So think about your tailbone as if it was a pendulum. So it's just swinging. We've all got different bodies, we've all got different issues. So just make sure that your back is happy with the movement that you're choosing today, because tomorrow might be a completely different story. It's a nice way to connect with your deep abs. Stretch the thoracolumbar sacral fascia. So it's like a twerk, and just gets the back really starting to wake up a little bit. I'm going to come back to facing the camera. So another way you could move your pelvis is you could drop one sit bone down, and, or maybe we'll say hip, so drop one hip down and the other hip slightly rises. So think of your hips as level, and then one hip up, one hip down. So for me, with my spinal issues, I've always got to be a little bit careful of this one. It's a great stretch for the ligaments of your spine and your long muscles of your back, but it's also challenging if you've got tightness or SI joint problems like I have. So you're just going to work within a comfortable range. Just make sure you don't stir up anything too much. You want to stretch things a little bit, but without aggravating. Last one. Lovely. So put the hands back on the ball. Make sure the feet are back in that neutral sitting position, lining up with the box of your body. Shoulders, hips, knees, ankles all in line. And you're just coming up and over. Up and over. So this is for your side lines, your lateral lines, and also for your spiral line. So you just find what's comfortable. So you think about that C curve through the spine, through the arm. So you don't want to do this with a straight arm. You want a nice curved arm so that you keep the shoulder and the neck relatively relaxed. It's more about opening the space between the rib and the hip on the stretching side. And once you've done that a few times and you've figured out how it feels, maybe as you take the arm up, you could drop the sit bone on the same side. So it's like a figure C, but you're stretching it from both ends. So you drop the sit bone. And again, it's quite challenging for the ligaments and the fascia in the back. So just find what's comfortable for you, what's safe for you. And again. And again. So this class is set really at a beginner level, but really the Swiss ball is quite challenging. And so it's an advanced beginner level. If there is such a thing, it's a challenging beginner level. So just listen to your body and just find out what feels good. Come back into center. The Cossack. The Cossack is a rotational movement. You're going to fold your arms I've got a bangle on, so that gives me my midpoint. That I'm trying to keep my nose lined up with that midpoint. I'm trying to grow longer in my spine. I imagine the energy in my spine is spiraling upwards and around, so that I grow a bit taller as I turn, and then I come back into my neutral, relaxed position. So spiraling up and around, growing a little bit taller. So as you do this, you have to decide, how much do I need to use my abs to feel really good in this movement? So there's a slight uplift through the pelvic floor. You're imprinting your belly button towards the back of your rib cage, even the back of your upper rib cage. So you've got that connection through the diaphragm. And again. So if you wanted to advance it, you could come into your window, bring in the arm lines, which is going to affect your spiral line more. You feel suddenly the connection to the ribs is much stronger. And then maybe you could take the arms into a longer, narrow window and you feel it even more. There's so many different variations you can do with all of these exercises. So just stay with the simple ones and come back down. So I'll come to the end of my mat. Now this is one of those movements that starts to be quite challenging and a little bit scary if you've not used a Swiss ball much, but you want to make sure you've got no socks on and that your feet are really gripping into your mat. You don't feel like your feet are going to slide. If you're doing it on a rug, maybe take the rug away. So just don't want anything around you that's going to slip or slide. You want to feel that the ball and you are on the same mat. You don't want to be all on the floor and the mat off and then they start to move apart. So you think about the alignment in your spine. You've got your shoulders over your hips, you're in that nice neutral spine, and then you're going to tuck your tailbone under and you're going to pull your belly button to the back of the ribs and come back in. So you're bringing your spine into a C curve. So you see the shape of the figure C. If I put my arms like that, there's your figure C. Okay? So you're tucking under. Now the secret of doing this exercise is to make sure the shoulders don't move in space. They stay exactly where they are. It's just the pelvis and the ball that move forward. So you can feel that's really strong ab work. So you're tucking under, pull the belly up under the ribs. So once you've got the hang of that, if you wanted to go stronger, you could pull your arms in, still keep the shoulders where they are in space, take the arms out. So now it's become a rowing exercise. Pull the belly up under the ribs. Pull the belly in. As the arms pull in, the belly pulls in. Try pulling into the side of your rib cage and touch your ribs, and then go back into center. Pull to the other side and touch your ribs. So you don't want to take the arms out too far at a beginner level. Pull the belly button to the back of the ribs, because your spine is moving through rotation, and it's flexing all at the same time. So that's quite a strong action for your spine to take. It's really good for your back, but you don't want to make it too big, too hard to stabilize. One more. And when you've done that, we'll keep it simple. We'll just lie down, chest on the thighs. Just take a nice big deep breath into the back of the rib cage, expand. And as you breathe out, strong abs, and you're rolling all the way back up. So something we could practice is just to see how this feels. Make sure you've got nice, secure feet, nice sticky mat. You're walking, you're holding your ball, and you're walking yourself forward, and you're bringing your head onto the ball. Maybe you watch me do this before you try it. Have your feet under your knees, and have your knees at hip space. Okay? So then you bring your head up, you hold the ball, you walk yourself back in, you come back into sitting. So it's good just to practice walking out, holding the ball, head, shoulders, shoulder blades on the ball, feet under knees, hold the ball, walking yourself back in. If you really don't like that, if it's too scary, you're walking yourself out, you'll do the exercise, but then you'll hold the ball and you'll just come into sitting. And that way, you're out of it nice and safely and easily. So I want you to come back to head on the ball. Just find your best way to come into this position. Make sure there's no coffee tables around. Have your feet under your knees, and I want you just to link your fingers, Hands under your head, tuck your chin is slightly tucked. Keep your eyes open. That's the #1 rule with a Swiss ball workout, is you never shut your eyes. Engage your abs, and you're just going to float your head from the top of the ball, looking forward, gently come down. So I've got all of my back on the ball, I've got all my shoulder blades on the ball. My head is sitting in my hands. I'm not pulling on the neck, I'm pulling my belly in up under the ribs to lift, looking forward. There's hardly any movement in the vertebra of my neck. It's really happening in the vertebra of my rib cage. If this makes you feel dizzy and a little bit yucky, there are a few people that just have neck issues that really, they shouldn't do this exercise. So it may be, I don't know, 5% of the population where their necks just have a reflex where they start to feel a little bit nauseous if they do anything that challenges the neck. If you're one of those people, then just sit up, hold the ball, come into sitting, have a little rest. It's only one short section. So this last one, so just really nice ab work, holding the ball, and I'm going to come off it the easy way. We're going to slide down into sitting, and we're off the ball. So that's a nice, simple, easy way to come off. So coming into, we'll put the ball this end and we'll turn this way. I'm going to put the ball on the shins. Start by just looking at your ball, drop your chin into your chest, spine stretch forward. You're going to roll the ball towards your toes, pull the belly up under the ribs. It's a nice stretch through the back line, and then you're going to roll back in. You're going to hold the ball, you're going to do a slow roll down to the floor. Take the ball overhead, touch the floor above your head. Bring the ball over, bring your chin into tucked, pull your belly button up under your ribs, breathe in. You'll find it's actually easier to come up than you expected because the ball weighs about 5 pounds, so it's giving you a little bit of a lift. So point your toes, roll the ball onto the toes so you get that nice stretch through the fascia of your feet and your shins. Pull the belly in deeply up under the ribs so your spine is comfortable. Roll back in, look at the ball, engage your abs, belly button to the back of your rib cage, breathing as you roll, nice and slow, touch the floor. That stretch in your shoulders, bring the ball over, bring the chin up and the head up, breathe in, pull the belly button to the back of the ribs so you're not straining to come out of it. Stretch. Come back in. If you can't quite come up, then just do a sort of a mid-range. So mid-range would be a half roll back, deeply imprint your abs, come back up and reach, reach, reach. So maybe you're just doing that half roll back position. Breathe in, pull the belly up under the ribs, still working. And if you're holding the ball in the air, that 5-pound ball suddenly becomes quite heavy. And you notice your abs, your chest, your shoulders, arms and back, working really hard. So one more time, breathing in, pull the belly button into the back of the rib cage, stretch, 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 and come back into sitting. So coming into a mermaid position. Okay, so if you find it difficult to come into the triangle, so you've got your pubic bone, your knees form a triangle with the leg bone at the front. Grab yourself a big book or a big cushion so you're sitting on something that lifts you up, that takes the pressure out of your hip flexors in the front. So you've got the ball in line with your shoulder, elbow bent. I want you to take the ball out, but as you take the ball out, I want your elbow to be on the ball and your arm to be bent. So you don't want to be looking like this, which pushes all that tension into your shoulder. So you're just going to reach out, elbow on the ball, to see how that feels in the back, and you're going to come back in. So do that a couple of times. You're reaching out. So it's surprisingly, even with your elbow on the ball, you can feel your shoulders, your chest, your upper back and waist on that side, getting quite a workout. So then bring the mermaid arm in. Okay, so the rule of breathing is breathing out as you breathe out, the general rule, and breathing in. I do change that, but not usually at beginner level. Breathing out, so my elbow's on the ball, my arm is still bent, so that my shoulders and triceps can really absorb that movement without allowing the tension to jump into the neck. So there's your mermaid, last one. So now, just turn to face the ball. Put 2 hands at shoulder space and pull the belly button to the back of the ribs And just stretch out until you feel that lovely stretch at the back of your rib cage. And then bring the ball in and lift the head and the heart. So you're breathing out and you're stretching. You're breathing in, up stretch. So the up stretch is lifting the heart to the ceiling. Breathing out. Last one, breathing in. And come back into relax. Bring the ball around. So you're changing your mermaid into the other direction. See how you are, whether you can come into that upright position comfortably. And if you need the pillow or the yoga block or whatever, then or the book, just grab that. Put your hand on the ball in line with your shoulder and just move out with that bent elbow, elbow on the ball, and come back in. So just get used to taking that ball out, leaning into the ball, pressing into your palm till you feel all those muscles contract, and then come back in. Even sitting in this position, you're opening out your hips, stretching your spine. So now add your mermaid arm. There's your curved arm. Remember, it's not a straight arm, it's a curved arm. You breathe out as you move out, elbow on the ball. Breathing in as you move in. Your chin is tucked, not over tucked, but slightly pulled in. Neck muscles are soft and relaxed so that you're using the stabilizing muscles of your neck. You're not looking right, looking left, which is really bad. And I think the mermaid is the exercise that people do that most in. They try to follow the movement with the head and soon get into trouble. Last one. So then you do a rotation, 2 hands on the ball at shoulder space, pull the belly button to the back of the ribs, feel the stretch in the lower half of the rib cage at the back, and then breathe in and lift your head and your heart, but your chin is tucked. So you're breathing out and you stretch. You're breathing in, lift the head and the heart. Breathing out. Breathing in. It's that really tight place in the back of your ribs that you can't quite get to that really needs to be stretched. Leave the ball there, bring the leg out of the mermaid. And we're going to just, I'll come down a bit so I'm near the end of the mat. Hold the ball, do a spinal roll to the floor, and we're going to bring the ball through the knees. Put the feet together, the knees together. Get the ball right up against the back of your thighs. Take the hands out to the side. The chin is slightly tucked. And think of a big clock in front of you with your knees pointing to 12. You're going to roll your knees towards 1 o'clock. Keep the shoulder blades on the floor. Come back to center. Roll the knees to 11 o'clock. Keep the opposite shoulder blade on the floor. Roll the knees towards 2 o'clock. Some of us might be able to comfortably get to 2 and still keep that opposite shoulder blade on the floor. Come back through 12. Roll the knees over towards 10 o'clock. Can you still keep that opposite shoulder blade down? Maybe you can go between 2 and 3 if it's comfortable in the spine, if the shoulder blades are still firmly planted. Maybe you could go between 9 and 10. So just find your range. There's no right range or wrong range, it's just your range. So see now if you could take your knees to one side and take your head opposite so that you get a little bit of counter rotation through the spine. Knees to the left, head to the right. This is one of those delicious stretches that I think everybody loves because it just gives every single vertebra in your spine a little bit of a stretch without overworking any one place. You can feel your abs are working, your chest muscles are stretching, your obliques, your waist. It's just a lovely, lovely movement. One more. Come back into center. So we're going to take the ball out, have the feet on the ball, the feet at hip space, and we're going to just bring our pelvis into level. So there's a little bit of a hollow in the small of the back. We're holding the bones of the pelvis. We're just going to lift our right leg up. We're going to flex down. We're going to point up. So it's a hamstring stretch. It's a low abdominal exercise. Point and flex. The ball should not move. You should still keep a little bit of a space in the small of the back. So you're not pushing your belly button down into the floor. If you've got tight hamstrings, maybe it looks a little bit more like a bent leg raise, but you're just finding your stretch, slightly turned out in the hips. Those quads are always going to try to be in charge. and we don't want them to be. So have the feet at hip space, level pelvis, hold the bones at the front of the pelvis so you can check, point and flex. Point and flex. Keep the hollow in the small of the back. So when you're in a neutral pelvis, you're working your abs equally with your back muscles. If you drop your belly button down, you're going to switch off those back muscles. The abs will get stronger at the expense of those weakened back muscles. So you're trying to be perfectly parallel. You want to feel a bit of a stretch in the hamstrings. If you feel it in your quads, you need to turn out your toes, your knees, your hips a little bit more. 2 more. Last one. You can see the ball's a little bit more wobbly on this side. So just bring the knees in. Let the knees fall out. You can let your belly button drop on this. And take the legs down. So this is just knee circles to relax your hips. Just bring yourself out of that state for a second so you can work again. Last one. So have your feet back at hip space, level pelvis, hands at the front of your pelvis. Lift your right leg in, turn out. See if you could draw a bit of a circle on the ceiling. Down, around and up. 1. Down, around and up. 2. Down, around and up. 3. Down, around and up. 4. And you're really tightening your corset of muscles. Down, around and up. 5 as you go. Now go in reverse and really start to use your powerhouse. 1 and 2. Maintain turnout. 3. Try and keep the ball nice and steady. 4. Tightening even more. 5 and bring the foot down. Feet at hip space. Level pelvis. Lift your left leg in, turn out, down, around and up. 1, down, around and up. 2, so I've got to use my powerhouse much more to stop the ball from wobbling on this side. 3, this is my weaker side. 4, tightening even more. 5, stay turned out, reverse, down, around and up. 1, down, around and up. 2, tightening those abs. 3, 4, last one, 5, and come back down. Bring the feet together, knees in, knees fall out and down. So you bring the knees towards the chest, they both fall apart, you go down. So just a nice circular movement, just to bring everything back into relaxed. Last one. Bring the ball right the way in to touching the bottom. Have the feet at hip space, hands nice and wide. You're going to slide the ball away from you, get your calves on the ball and lift your bottom and just challenge your core. Bring your bottom down, bring the ball back in. So the secret of this exercise is to be touching the bottom as you start so that when you take the ball away, you've got half of your legs is on that ball. You've got your hands to help as stabilizers. You bring the bottom down, you come back in. You breathe in as you come in, you breathe out as you move out. You breathe in as you come in, you breathe out as you move out. Maybe you float the arms. Take the stabilizers away. See if you can still do it. You might be a little bit wobbly. Look at the ceiling. See how that goes. And then another way to advance this, hands on the floor, is to bring the ball in. We'll try 3. You're going to push out and lift, and you're going to stay lifted. You're going to come in and move out 1. In, move out 2. In, 3. Maybe we'll do 5. And 4. Last one, 5. Spinal roll. Now, whenever you do leg work and ab work on the ball, especially this sort of leg work, you really do need to take the time just to stretch out your hamstrings afterwards. Otherwise, you can really over-tighten your calves and your hamstrings and pick up injuries. So just do a few point and flex, ankle circles, going both ways, bend and straighten, push into the hand behind the knee, drop the sit bone towards the floor. And then you're going to take your right foot to your left knee and you're going to bring the ball in and it's going to stretch out your hips and your piriformis after you did all of that. Just take a nice deep breath. And then just slowly releasing. So we're going to take the other leg up, point and flex. Point and flex. I can hear children, but I'm not sure where they're coming from. So you do bend and straighten. Bend and straighten. Bend and straighten. That's good. Push the sit bone towards the floor. Push the back of the knee into the hand. And then take your left foot to your right knee. Just bring the ball in and just get into the hips, the glutes, the piriformis on the side. Take a nice deep breath. And again. So just releasing the leg. Bring the ball around the side of your body. Have your feet at hip space. Nice level pelvis. And we're just going to float the ball above the chest. And you want to feel that you're pushing the ball towards the ceiling so that you're very active in the shoulder blades. Engaging your pelvic floor, use your abs, pull the belly button to the back of the ribs. Just float the right knee and come back down. Float the left knee, come back down. The right knee, come back down. So what you notice, left knee, is as you push the ball away from you, because your shoulder girdle is so active, your spine feels much more stable. So you've got your pelvic girdle and your shoulder girdle working together. So once you can do that fairly easily, lift the right knee, lift the left knee, push the ball to the ceiling, right foot down, left foot down. Lift the left knee, lift the right knee, push the ball to the ceiling, left foot down, right foot down. Do that one more time. Right knee, left knee, push the ball to the ceiling, right foot down, left foot down. Last time, left knee, right knee, push the ball to the ceiling. Stay in your table position, single leg stretch into a high position. Push the ball to the ceiling, single leg stretch to the left. You're in turnout. You could play around with going a little bit lower, a little bit deeper. Maybe you can reach the height of your pelvis. Maybe you could lift your head and look down the midline of your body. So you're looking at your feet, pushing the ball towards the ceiling. Really good ab work. One more right, one more left. Bring the head down, take the feet down, bring the ball into centre. Have a little rest for a minute. Just roll your nose. I like to take my feet out from my body, put the hands on the ball, and just roll the ball up the hill, push the belly into the floor, the belly button, and just give myself a bit of a stretch through the back body, and then gently down. Just give yourself a break before you do the next block. So hold the ball, and this time we're going to hold the ball halfway out. We're not pushing to the ceiling. Level pelvis, float the knees, heels together, double leg stretch. And come back in. So you can rest the ball on the knees, pull the belly button to the back of the ribs, and come back in. Pull the belly button to the back of the ribs, come back in. Belly button to the back of the ribs. If you want to go a little bit stronger, float the ball, not trying to touch the floor, not at beginner intermediate level. You're just taking the ball to sort of the same angle as the feet. Really pull the belly button to the back of the ribs so you've got that strong centre to move the ball and the feet away from to create opposition. And only if you've got a good strong neck, you could float the head. That's a lot harder. Belly button to the back of the ribs. And again. Last one. Come back in, head down, take the ball between the feet, bring the knees and the ankles together. Hands out to the side, shoulder blades planted. Just again, do your side roll and just give yourself a little bit of a moment just to stretch and release. So 2 very simple exercises for the abs, but everything on the ball is ab work. And we're just sort of introducing you to the Swiss ball. So whenever I've done my abs, I always like to finish with my back just to balance. So we'll just bring the ball around, we'll swing up into sitting, bring the ball into the front, just lost my hair. So you're going to bring the ball right into the front of the thighs. So if you did the other half of this series, we started with this and we're coming back to it. So you're going to tuck your toes under, make sure the feet are on the mat, bring the ball into the thighs. You want the feet about hip space, and you're going to just roll onto the ball, use your glutes, and just arch away from the ball. So I don't want you pushing the ball with your hands, just stretching. The chin is tucked, you're looking at the floor. Hyperextension. So if the hands are behind you, relatively easy. But if you want to go a bit stronger, try bringing the arms out to the side. So as the arms weigh quite a lot of weight, you'll notice that the arms will raise the level of difficulty. How about arms to the corners? The chin is tucked. You're looking at the floor just to make sure the neck is okay. And then if you really want to become a little bit more challenged, take the arms above the head. You could even start to lift the head. Come into what I call Superman. Last one. So take the hands to the shoulders. We're going to dive down. We're going to breaststroke back. Hands to shoulders. Diving down. Breaststroke back. Hands to shoulders. Diving down. Breaststroke back. Hands to shoulders. Diving down. Stretch back. Hands to shoulders. We started, I'll come forward a little bit because I'm sliding, and we did swimming legs in the first half, so we'll finish with swimming arms, have the feet at hip space, look at the ball, pull your shoulder blades down in the back, paddle the arms, and try not to wobble the ball. So you've really got to pull your abs in to reduce the movement in the ball. You're breathing in through the nose, you're breathing out through the mouth. You're breathing in through the nose. This one is very strong in the abs as well as the shoulder girl. Breathing out through the mouth. Last time, breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the mouth, slowing it down, hands to ball, bend the knees. Just bring the ball right under the body, chin on the ball, and we're just going to turn the head to one side and just come back into circles again with the shoulders. Take a nice deep breath. Feel like you're expanding your rib cage. You're slightly gripping the ball so you feel the stretch in the arms and the shoulder girdle. Breathing out. Turn the head the other way. Get the ear on the ball. Change the direction of your circle and just grab the ball. Take a nice deep breath in. Feel the stretch in the rib cage. Breathing out. Coming into center. Coming into kneeling. And you finish. So that is part one, part two of the Swiss ball. Beginner level, but as I said, any workout on the ball is always going to be quite challenging, quite advanced. So well done, and look out for an intermediate one once you've got the hang of this one.